Hello, I'm Jim Costello, Administrative Services Analyst with the City of Oxnard Finance Department. This presentation provides information on the proposed public safety pension property tax assessment for fiscal year 2024-25. The recommendation is that City Council adopt a resolution establishing the fiscal year 2024-25 tax rates on property in the City of Oxnard for the payment of voter-approved obligations related to public safety personnel pension expenses. In 1951, the residents of Oxnard voted to enroll the city's fire and police public safety employees in the California State Employees Retirement System, now known as CalPERS, and obligated the city to pay the annual cost of participation in the system through a local property tax levy. Each year, the Council adopts a resolution establishing the annual tax rate for this voter-approved obligation. Following the passage of Proposition 13 in 1978, the California Supreme Court, in the case of Carmen versus Alvord, ruled that such an obligation qualifies as voter-approved indebtedness, thus making it exempt from the 1% maximum rate allowed by Proposition 13. Because of this case, this assessment is often referred to as the Carmen override. A subsequent court ruling in 2002 limits the tax to cover only payment of the level of benefits that were in effect on July 1, 1978, when Proposition 13 went into effect. Another court ruling sets the maximum tax rate that can be levied to the rate that was in effect for fiscal year 1983-84, which in Oxnard's case is 7.6637 cents per each $100 of assessed property value. The city has contracted with the independent firm Foster & Foster to perform an actuarial analysis to determine the amount of eligible expenses. The proposed budget for fiscal year 2024-25 includes approximately 137 positions in fire and 242 positions in police. The total estimated public safety retirement cost for these positions is $28,027,068, and the estimated cost that is eligible for this funding is $18,946,120. The difference is paid through other sources, primarily general fund. The proposed tax rate is based on the following factors. The projected assessed value of properties for fiscal year 2024-25 is $26,801,440,105. As mentioned previously, the total eligible expenses are $18,946,120. We are projecting that there will be an available fund balance at the end of the current fiscal year of $1,046,793, which will be applied towards the eligible expenses. This then leaves a total of $17,899,327 to be collected via tax levy. The city's property tax consultant, HDL, has projected unitary property tax revenue of $5,222,552. I'll discuss unitary tax revenue a little more on the next slide, but this leaves a total of $12,676,775 to be raised from the assessed properties. Based on the projected assessed base of $26.8 billion, the tax rate required to raise the remaining revenue is 4.7299 cents per each $100 of assessed value, or, in other words, about $47.30 for each $100,000 of assessed property value. This rate represents an increase of 3.4% over the current year's rate, which is 4.5750 cents per $100, but it's still significantly less than the maximum allowable rate of 7.6637 cents per $100. And it's 6.9% lower than the city's historical 5-year average. This is some background on what the unitary property tax is. Unitary property is property that is located within the city's tax district that is owned by railroads and utilities. Since these entities own property throughout the state, this property is singularly taxed at the statewide level, and the revenue is then collected by the state and allocated back to the cities and counties. The city of Oxnard began receiving revenue from unitary property beginning in fiscal year 2020 and 2021, following an audit initiated by our property tax consultants at the city's request. The revenue from these properties offsets the amount that needs to be collected from the other parcels within the city, resulting in a lower overall assessed tax rate. Again, our recommendation is that the City Council adopt a resolution establishing the fiscal year 2024-25 tax rates on property in the City of Oxnard for the payment of voter-approved obligations related to public safety personnel pension expenses. This concludes the presentation. Staff will be available at the meeting to address any further questions you may have. Thank you for taking the time to review this presentation.